Good morning, everyone. It is 7:10 a.m. and we are in the Melbourne CBD. And now you may think that this is still related to my metro tunnel opening stay here, but it's actually not, because it is now the week after the metro tunnel. 1 week after the first weekday of operation, Monday the 8th of December 2025. Today is actually the 1-year anniversary of the Ellenbrook line opening, and basically exactly 1 year ago I also left Melbourne, like last year, at least yesterday I did, to get to the Ellenbrook line opening. Now we're here again, but I've literally just been here overnight, or barely even that. I got to the hotel at 1 a.m. last night. I was just spending a few days up in Queensland and Canberra as well. So I made a few little videos, but there wasn't much to see in terms of channel content. I was just exploring the cities, Cairns and Townsville I wanted to go to, but there was some terrible issues. The Spirit of Queensland train I was supposed to get on to Townsville would have arrived at 1 p.m. and I would have had 6 hours to explore. But then it got cancelled and replaced by coaches, which was already bad because I was trying to tick off regional trains and I thought that was bad, and then the coach broke down and we got stranded in a random town for like 4 hours until a replacement one came. So that was definitely much worse. They did buy a free lunch for us though, but anyway, I was just really mad yesterday. I basically wasted the whole day on that. And then finally got another coach, got to Townsville at like 5:30, and then I had to pretty much immediately go to the airport. I just went first to the city just to say I've been there in the city center for like 5 minutes. And then I flew here and got here at midnight on a delayed flight, or even later. And then the stupid ripped off sky bus and everything. But yeah, that's my story of what's been happening right now. But now, I'm actually going on the Overland. Yes, definitely. I was trying to tick off a lot of regional trains, but that didn't really happen now, with the Spirit of Queensland being cancelled. But at least, hopefully, the Overland should be running. It is departing in 45 minutes time on its 10 to 11 hour journey to Adelaide, yes, all the way. And we will be back in Adelaide as well, which means I will have been to every mainland state and territory in Australia, except Northern Territory, within 10 days. Or even less, like 9 days, which is really cool. But that's how I wanted this trip to be always. So we'll say goodbye to the Melbourne trams and everything, sadly. But I will be back in February for the full start of the metro tunnel as well, as I said. So not long at all. Now we'll head to Adelaide on this service, and then I can film Port Dock as well, the only new station that's open since I was there, and whatever else I want to do for a day. Now this service is operated by Journey Beyond. It is the only Journey Beyond service which is not luxury travel and ridiculously priced. You can book a kind of luxury service which gives you like food service to your table and stuff, but to your seat, and unlimited drinks, but it's not really necessary. The base fare is around $140 to $50 usually. Right now in December it's $190. Yeah, it's still 50 minutes, like. I don't know why they tell you to come an hour early. It's on the boards as a normal service. But anyway, we'll go take a look inside. So, yeah, let me just get through the gate and then I'll keep explaining to you. Alright, we're in. So, as I was saying, right now, because it's December and more like peak travel period, it is $190 base fare. That's what I paid. $195. You can pay $295 for the premium service with the food included, but I'll just buy the food on board. It should be the same anyway, just without the additional service, which I don't really need, and I shouldn't be spending $100 on that. Now the service obviously takes a very long time. It's more about the train experience than anything else. It would have been faster to fly. I wouldn't even have had to come here in the first place. Could have just flown directly to Adelaide. But I want to tick off trains and we'll do this. And next year I'm doing the Indian Pacific. So it is departing twice a week in either direction. And I don't know, I forgot the exact days, but today is a Monday departing at 8:05 from Southern Cross. It is a standard gauge train, which means that it uses platforms at the end over here, just like the Albury V-Line service. And on its way towards Ballarat to head west, it actually has to go via Geelong because there's no other standard gauge line, which is so ridiculous. That is such a long way around, all the way down to Geelong and then all the way back up to Ballarat. Like, what? But yeah. Exciting to be on this and crazy to be on a train between two state capitals of Australia. I mean, obviously you can take the XBT to Sydney from literally over there as well, pretty much at the same time, which I might do one day. But yeah, Melbourne is cool. Not I wouldn't live here, but it's nice to come every once in a while and check out all the awesome transports. So yeah. Now, here we go, the Overland. So that's the normal seats right there. In the premium you get 2x1 seating, but whatever. I don't think I need to do anything yet. Oh, I might have to check in. But then I'll just go back out and spot some trains probably. There's still 45 minutes. Alright, we just got checked in and just got allocated a carriage and seat. All good for that. Really don't need to be here an hour early. Completely unnecessary. They said they're not opening the train for another 20 minutes, and then we'll just sit in it anyway. So I might as well go back out. I should get a shot from the front though. I'll do that later, hopefully. But what else? I was going to say, if you actually do want to get to Adelaide from Melbourne without going on a plane, your best option is, cheapest option is V-Line. There's a coach which goes all the way. Or you can actually take the Overland to Neil, which is the last town in Victoria, and it is so much cheaper. And then you can get a coach from there and you save so much money. But I just want to say I've done the full train, but it's really crazy that it costs that much when you can just switch it there and save so much money, especially considering the train is so slow for the last 2 hours into Adelaide going down the hill. Like, you're basically already there, but you're still stuck in it for so long. So there's all the stops: Ararat, Stawell, Horsham, Dimboola, Neil, border town, Murray Bridge, and Adelaide, border town, right on the border between the two states. So in fact, if you travel on a weekend during this summer, you can actually take the Overland, I'm pretty sure, within Victoria for free, which is crazy. A free ride on the Overland, completely free to enjoy. And then you can get it on the V-Line, which should also be free, and you can get to Adelaide from Melbourne for $0. That is correct, which is crazy. Or to Canberra, you can do the same as well with V-Line. So you can literally travel to other capital cities for free, which is so good. Just head up to the Woolworths there now to get something before we leave. It will be a long journey, taking the entire day, but it should be good. Now, also, despite going through both Geelong and Ballarat, neither of those are stops on the Overland, which is pretty crazy, but I guess it means people can't try to use that instead of the V-Line services. It doesn't really go through the main Geelong station, but it's still very close to it in North Geelong, so alright, see you soon. Well, Woolworths here is always very nice. They sell coffees, which I also get a discount on for working in Woolworths in Perth, and toasties as well. It's like so cool, like a cafe, you know, not just a supermarket. But probably shouldn't be eating up here in the diesel fumes, but oh well. Just saying goodbye to Southern Cross for the next, well, only 2 months, so not really that sad. Alright, after just taking a nice walk all around the station, we're gonna just go to the front and get a nice photo. So cool just seeing Adelaide on the boards. I just heard the Sydney XPT just got cancelled, replaced by road coaches. Yet again, unbelievable the amount of times that happens. It's so bad, so unreliable. Luckily this service is running though. I think this one's pretty reliable. And as it should if I'm paying $200 for it, when I could have got there for like 15 or free if I went yesterday. Hopefully it should be a nice ride. It's actually my first Journey Beyond experience, but I will be going on the very expensive Indian Pacific in June, so I'll have already done 2 of the 4 trains that they operate then. Oh, it just has the locomotive for the Great Southern instead of a specific one for the Overland. I wonder if that's always like that, or I don't know. I'm pretty sure I've seen an Overland locomotive, but maybe I'm wrong. So, whatever. The only good part of Southern Cross, out in the open. I don't get why they can't just stop the diesel trains here. I mean, I know it's a longer walk, but seriously, it would benefit everyone's health. And nice view with the city in the background as well. Yeah, I guess that's the thumbnail.
Customers for the 750 train to Sydney, please be advised that this service has been replaced by road coaches.
And there's that
Please
announcement.
make your way to the coach terminal located at the Perth Street end of the station.
Bruh. Alright, let's head inside now to my seat. Alright, here we are on board.
On behalf of our crew, so today we have Paula, Merle, Daniel, Neve and Razel. It gives me great pleasure to welcome you on board today's service from Melbourne to Adelaide. Today we will be travelling 828 kilometres, average speed of around 90 kilometres an hour. Our journey will take us through the historic townships of North Shore Geelong, Ararat, Stawell, Horsham, Dimbola, Newell, Bordertown and Murray Bridge, before arriving into the Adelaide Parklands terminal this evening. Setting off today, we would like to take a moment to acknowledge the traditional custodians of country throughout Australia and their connection to land, sea and community. As we travel across this land, we pay our respects to their elders, past, present and future. We send that respect to the Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander people today. Your comfort, safety and enjoyment are our highest priorities throughout this journey. If there are any guests requiring special assistance, please make yourself known to a friendly gentleman. Also, if there's anybody with any mobility issues at all, please let us never know. We're more than happy to come to you at your seat. There are 2 exits per carriage in the Overland. We'll be making several stops along the way. but unless you are leaving the train today, you will not be permitted to disembark. Please take the time to read the safety information displayed in your carriage, which details emergency procedures and the locations of your nearest exits. In the unlikely event of an emergency, you may be asked to evacuate, so please be aware of the emergency exits in each carriage. Now these are the doors to the adjoining carriages, or the carriage door that you entered the train through this morning. If this exit is obstructed, evacuation windows are in the centre of each carriage, and a senior staff member will direct you in this event. Now our toilets, they operate on a vacuum retention system. Please avoid placing anything other than toilet paper into the toilet as it will cause blockages. It will certainly be unpleasant. Also make sure you lock the door from the inside by pressing the red button displayed. Please note that smoking and vaping is strictly not permitted on board this train. Now being on board a moving train can take some getting used to. Please be aware we are subject to sudden movements. Please take care when moving between the carriages and heading through any of the electric doors. Always press the open button, regardless of whether you are following someone or not, as the doors, they work on a timer, not a sensor. Also, when you are moving from one carriage into the next, please always look down. There's some metal plates there that move back and forth with the movement of the train, but they're not always sitting in a level, sort of flat position. You may need to take a little step up or down. Well, ladies and gentlemen, all you need to do now is sit back, relax, and enjoy the views. Once again, if there is anything that we can do to make your journey more enjoyable, please do not hesitate to ask. Thank you.
Okay, after the trip out from Southern Cross there and that little briefing as we were heading down the Werribee line, I actually spotted the XT2 here, which is now well in service already for months, but this was my first ever sighting of it and I still haven't been on it as of the publishing of this video, so that was pretty cool to see. Anyway, it's just a few little clips I took on the way down towards Geelong, which that's the station it stops at now. You're gonna see right here, North Geelong Station. It's such a random spot for this massive train journey to stop at. You can see how many people are waiting on that tiny platform with that weird sign, North Shore Geelong, because not even in the city centre at all, and then it has to do this massive turn to go back northwest, just because this is where the standard gauge tracks are. So this is a really strange aspect of this train, and the platform's not even long enough either. You can see it just overshoots off the end. And there's a little snack on board in the cafe area, which is the easiest way to pass the time, I guess. And even some people taking videos of the train ride in the corridor. I don't think that's allowed like that, but it certainly captures the interest of the locals, considering it only goes past twice a week in either direction. I don't even know where this clip was taken, but anyway, basically before each town, or some of them, the attendants gave a little bit of a briefing again of what's in that town, so you'll hear one right now.
The Idle Base, which talks about all the natural attractions in the area. The store was also part of the Victorian Gold Rush in the 1850s and ceased in 1920. The town is probably best known for the store Gift, which is one of Australia's richest foot races, been going for over 130 years. It takes place at Easter time on the oval just behind the train station. I do have guests joining and leaving here. I'll make my way down there shortly. Thank you.
And continuing on from that town, we get into the next ones on in this direction, which were Stowell and then Neil. And as I kind of said at the start of the video, it was very odd how this train service is basically acting like a separate V-Line service for the Victorian network. You can see all these stations just have the V-Line branding, even though this is the only train stopping here. So it's obviously the least frequent service you can get, but you can actually get on the train for V-Line prices everywhere within Victoria, But then as soon as you go beyond that, you pay the crazily inflated Journey Beyond prices. And they have these specific seats reserved on the train for those V-Line customers, which they try to always sell out, while the rest of it is the normal price seats. But what I was so confused about was, if you can do that, why can't you just book a ticket to the Victorian border in those seats and then book another ticket from the Victorian border to Adelaide and just switch seats in the journey and then pay way less? Like, I don't know how that would work, but so if anyone knows, you can tell me that. Here's a quick look at the toilet on board. Everything's quite dated because it is quite an old train, like most of the, well, all of the Journey Beyond trains, which you will see in the future as well when I put up my Indian Pacific video, which I have now taken. And this was the lunch they had on board. It was just served in this disposable container. That curry, I think it would have been nicer to be in the service class where they would have brought it to you on a plate, which I do mention at the end as well, that I realized that probably would have been a better idea. And here we are at Neil, which is the last station in Victoria and the last place you can get to with the cheap V-Line fares. And departing, and then after this we journeyed on into South Australia, which I have the clip of crossing the border. I think right after this, yep, there's literally nothing significant. It's just there's a sign on that road, but you barely can even see it. I think right there was the border, and there's a little road crossing here. The tracks are just south of the main highway that goes in that direction. And this is the town of Bordertown, which is then just a few kilometers further west from that border there. And this is where we then go on the other side of the highway to continue further towards Adelaide.
Significant place in overland transportation as it crosses the mighty Murray River. It is the largest regional river city in South Australia. Originally it was called Edwards Crossing, and it was a major port for the paddle boats that once travelled along the river. It has a population of around 22,000 and is a popular holiday spot for water sports, camping and Murray River cruises. Now when we cross the river, the bridge you see outside the window from the right hand side of the train, it was built in 1879 and transported trains, pedestrians and animal traffic. Now the bridge that we cross on was built later in 1925. Now I do have quite a few guests leaving us here at Murray Bridge. Now just have a quick look around, make sure you have all your belongings with you. And a staff member will be down there shortly to assist. Thank you.
And that was the commentary from the journey manager for the town of Murray Bridge, which is basically the most major stop in South Australia and the last one before you get into Adelaide, which still takes a few hours after that. And this was honestly the best bit of scenery on the whole journey, even though we were already right towards the end. At this point it had been like just hours and hours of fields and grassland, and then here we finally got to this bridge in the water after these curves, and you can see it just looks so much nicer than everything else that I had seen out the window, so I was glad to have something like that. And there was even a tunnel as well as it cut through the ditch, and then it was just a little bit further on and we had got to Adelaide. So there's that view. I'll just let you enjoy that. And here we are finally arriving onto the east side of the Adelaide Hills and approaching Belair Station, the terminus of the suburban line up into the hills. And as you would have known from previous Adelaide videos, they completely rearranged the tracks up the Belair line to make one side the standard gauge line for the freight trains in the Overland, while the other side is the broad gauge line for the suburban trains, which means there's a ton of abandoned platforms along the Belair line. I've never heard of a place where they actually halved the number of lines instead of duplicating, but that's just what they did here. And that was my first sighting of the Adelaide train since 2.5 years, actually almost 3 years before this, in January 2023 at the Belair station terminus, with the actually now hybrid DMUs, because they had converted them. And you'll see that in the upcoming few Adelaide videos that I did after this. These diesel trains are now hybrid, that is Belair station passing straight through and all the way down the hill, which you will hear the lady talk about Adelaide now.
Adelaide is Tandanya, which means the red kangaroo place, or red kangaroo dreaming. Adelaide City was established by 3 settlers in 1836 and currently has a population of around 1.3 million. It is known for its culture, beaches and world-class wineries. Be sure to visit the Barossa Valley and the McLaren Vale regions to sample some of Australia's finest wines. Now, Adelaide is known as the festival state, particularly in March, when thousands gather for music, theatre and fringe events. Now, we will be arriving at the Adelaide Parklands terminal at Keswick, which is situated about 10 minutes from the CBD. There is no public transport at the terminal, but we have phoned ahead for taxis for your convenience. South Australia has strict quarantine regulations to protect the state's agricultural industry. There are quarantine bins located on platform 1. We ask that you please dispose of any fruit, vegetables, flowers, plants, seeds, nuts or honey that you may have with you. And when we do arrive at the Adelaide Parklands terminal, we ask that you please remain seated until the train comes to a complete stop. I will make an announcement when it is safe to disembark. Now, we do have to wait for the loco to detach before I'm allowed to make an announcement, and sometimes that can take a few minutes. Please make sure you have all your belongings with you. Check the front seat pocket, the overhead racks and around your seat. Now, any lost property found by staff will be recorded and stored in lost property here in Adelaide. Now, when we do disembark, ladies and gentlemen, we ask that you please make your way into the terminal through the 2 double doors on platform 1. There'll be staff there directing you into the terminal. Then to collect your checked-in luggage, you walk through the terminal out the other side, and that is where you will collect your checked-in luggage. On behalf of Journey Beyond, myself and the entire crew today, we would like to thank you for travelling with us, and we look forward to welcoming you back on the Overland in the near future. Thank you.
And finally made it all the way down, passing through Adelaide Showground station, which is the last suburban station you see before you curve off into the left to get into the really industrial site of the Adelaide Parklands terminal, which is not a very nice place to end up after such a long journey, but that's just how it is here. I'll give you all the final thoughts then in real time back on the platform. I just wasn't talking in the train here because sitting next to that guy in the seat next to me the whole time really felt just cramped and not very personal space. Not very much personal space, which is why I ended up deciding that it probably would have been better to go into the higher class, as you will hear me say. And here is also the Indian Pacific, which you get to meet with if you take the Monday journey, because the Indian Pacific does sit here from Monday evening, so that's why you get to see it right there until it departs at about 10 p.m. again on its further journey to Sydney, which I have now done as well, of course. And here we are, arrived at Adelaide Parklands terminal almost exactly on time, only 2 minutes late, which is nothing for a 10.5-hour journey. This is actually the hub of basically all Journey Beyond services, because literally everything comes here. Indian Pacific travels via here. Obviously this service gone up to Darwin and the Great Southern to Brisbane. Oh, the locomotive left at the front with the Great Southern locomotive. But yeah, we also have the Indian Pacific here because it sits here from 5 p.m. to 10 p.m. on Saturdays on its journey from Perth to Sydney. I mean, not on Mondays on its journey from Perth to Sydney after it left Perth on Saturday. So the Overland Park's over here. The Indian Pacific is over there. I think this is actually where they store all the Indian Pacific carriages. I haven't seen them anywhere else before, like long term. So I wonder if they swap them out as well, like during the journey. Nah, I think it's the same train all the way, but still. So there's the Indian Pacific. You'll see the video of that in like 6 months' time. Yeah, pretty much. And here is the Overland, which now looks terrible because the locomotive left. That's okay. Now everyone's getting their luggage. I don't have any, only my bag, so I can just walk straight out. Now, stupidly, there's no public transport here. Not like East Perth with the train station right there. You actually have to walk to Adelaide Showground station or the bus stop. Pretty much everyone's getting a taxi, which is stupid because it's not really that far. Here's the inside of the terminal. Literally looks like a plane here. I mean, an airport. And the gift shop, a cap for all 4 trains.
Ladies and gentlemen, all present on the north end of platform 1, please stand well clear behind the white line during safety and the light entry unit takes place. Repeating, all present on the north end of platform 1, please stand well clear behind the white line during safety and the light entry unit takes place.
Now, despite the train looking so long, there's actually not really much to it. Carriage E over here. Wait, no. Is that the premium one? No. I don't know, one of them is a cafe car, one of them is a premium one, and there's 2 normal ones, and then there's a staff car and a luggage car in the driver area, so there's not actually much. And you can see all 4 services in there. It's so weird that Adelaide is the hub for them, like, I mean, I guess it's in the middle, so. But anyway, there's nothing else here now. So we're gonna say goodbye to the Overland. Overall, it's an okay service. It gets you where you need to go, but it takes a long time and it's really expensive, like especially in the peak season right now in December. $200. I mean, yeah, I mean the flights are pretty similar at the moment, but later in like February, March, I found Jetstar flights for $78, which is like dirt cheap. And it gets you here in like 2 hours, if not less. Now 1 hour, just over 1 hour, plus all the airport time, of course. While this is still 200, so like, and that's just base. Obviously, I've been spending on food as well, because I'm not gonna survive the whole day with no food on the train. So I had to pay, I paid around $30 for food, which brought it up to $225. And then the premium service would have been $295. So kind of I'm questioning now, should I even have gone into the normal service level, because like I just had to sit next to a random guy the whole time, which wasn't that nice, when I could have just had a bigger seat to myself. And I would have got all the food included with even more than what I had, plus unlimited drinks and direct service to my seat and just more privacy. I think it would have been worth it for the extra $70, because it's really not that much. If you're already going to make this journey, might as well make it more enjoyable than just what I did. So really bad how industrial it is here. Unbelievable, terrible exit to get out of here. Literally everyone is taking taxis and Ubers. They even had one of the people walk down the whole train, ask who wants to book a taxi, but there's literally only one person behind me who seems to be walking out as well. But it's really not that far. Like, how weak do you, like, seriously, 700 meters, can you really not walk that? But to the train station, or even less to the bus stop. But I have no idea how much money is on my card right now, actually. I haven't used it since I was here in January 2023. So I'll just go to the train station for now, so I don't have any trouble on the bus. And I just want to take the train. So yeah, I'm just gonna spend 2 days here now. That was really to do the journey. I don't think I'm gonna do it again. It really takes up the whole day, and as I said, it's not really that special. You don't see too much. The best bit is like Murray Bridge when it goes over the river and the bends, which is only a few minutes. So like, it's cool that you can get between two cities on a train, but I don't think it's worth it at all, especially with the flights being the price they are. Although I still liked it, of course, but like, it's just not worth the money or the time. So I'm glad I ticked that off the list though. Now I just got 2 days here to look at anything that has changed since January, which isn't much because it's Adelaide and they barely do anything here in terms of transport upgrades. Like literally the whole Belair line was instead of like duplicating it like any other city would, you know, they actually halved the tracks from 2 to 1 to allow one of them to be standard gauge, and then the whole other side got abandoned, which you can go watch my 2023 Adelaide videos to learn about the history of all the lines, since I actually went into the effort of typing it all up on the screen during the entire line clip, which took so much time. I'm not doing that anymore for any other videos because it takes way too long, but I did for those ones. So the only new thing is a one-stop spur less than 1 kilometer long to Port Dock, which reinstated that line which previously existed there. That opened last year, so that it basically created a whole new line, the Port Dock line, even though it's all the same as the Outer Harbour line except the one stop. But we'll go check that out. And also all the diesel trains have actually been geez, so noisy. Have actually been, or most of them have been converted into a new hybrid type train. Oh, the station's right here. That's not even far. That's so lame. Oh, there's a train. 3 car. I forgot the Desto says 2 on it as well. Like T-O Seaford. 2 Seaford. They're all 3 cars anyway. I don't think they even run 6s unless it's special events. It's a bit of a terrible intersection up here though. Yeah, so they are now hybrids, so they use battery technology, especially at Adelaide Station, so there's no diesel fumes everywhere, unlike Melbourne and Southern Cross, which still hasn't learned their lesson. I swear there's Richmond in every Australian city, except Perth though, actually. But I mean, there's probably a Richmond road somewhere. A nice Arctic bus over there. The other thing is they've actually closed the entire Glenelg tram line out of the city because they're elevating many sections of it. So that's actually quite a major project. It's been closed since August. It's going to open up again on Australia Day, so that'll be cool to see. But I'm not going to be back then probably. Oh, another bus. Yeah, I should also focus more on the buses because they're actually very interesting with the variety here. Probably the most of any Australian city, and last time I didn't focus on them too much. Here we are, Adelaide Showground station. Literally right here. Wasn't even an issue. On the Seaford, Flinders and Belair lines. What else was I gonna say? Yeah, so this is the standard gauge train where our train came in from the hills on the side, and then there are the broad gauge tracks for the suburban trains. Now, yeah, those are basically the 3 things that changed, which means Adelaide's tram network right now is only in the city. It's like a fully city-orientated network, nothing else. 2 lines. I think nothing even serves Festival Plaza anymore, so I'll make a few videos of that, just a few extra Adelaide videos. So keep an eye out for those. But that's the end of this video. Thanks for watching. That was a train in 3 minutes, but I don't know if I have money on my card, but we'll see. Let's just go down. Oh yeah, I literally completely forgot the processors are on the train in Adelaide. Literally forgot. That's crazy. Yeah. Anyway, we have an electric train on the probably Seaford or Flinders line. Yeah, one of those two over here in 4 minutes. But here we have the diesel train from Belair, where our train just came down the hill from. Platform 3 in 1 minute. So we'll just take this one, which is going to be the hybrid. My first time on it. Hopefully there's money in the card. I have no idea, but we'll try. I'm pretty sure there was a very small amount left, so it should be okay. Now, obviously here they literally have one fare for the whole network, and actually Perth's getting that as well from next year. Basically, there's still the 2-section fare for very short trips though, but other than that, one fare. Yes, the Adelaide announcement. Can't believe it's been almost 3 years since I was here. In like a month and a half, it's been 3 years. That is crazy. That went so fast. So this is literally the 6th state or territory I've been to now during my trip here. I just didn't go to Tasmania or Northern Territory, so pretty cool that I've gone to 6. Obviously New South Wales was just passing through on the way to Canberra. And here we go, a 3100 class. Hybrid. Now it's like red and green, which looks so bad, but whatever. Oh, they have new processors here as well.
Stand clear. Doors closing.